Good morning, class. And today in our geography class, we'll take up another new chapter called Globe, Latitude, and Longitude. Now, in this chapter, I'm sure you all must have seen a globe. There's a park in Lucknow which is known as the
Yes,
Globe
ma'am.
Park. So you all should have a nice, lovely stroll there. Not now, because right now you should be in your home to be safe and secure. But then later you can definitely visit, or you can Google search the pictures of Globe Park and you'll see the big picture of the mic. Only Mansi will open the mic. Okay. So here in this chapter, we'll be talking about the globe. Now, globe is a man-made depiction of Earth. Okay, just as the Earth looks. Now, it is so vast you cannot sum it up. You cannot put all the features and let a child study it. So, for teachers and for others who are teaching, they need to explain children how the Earth looks. So they can't take the space travel. They cannot take the students to the moon and show the pictures from there or the look of the Earth from there. So the easiest was and the most convenient was the depiction through a globe. Now it is just a replica of the Earth in a small size. Replica means it's a true copy of Earth, how it looks, appearance wise, and it is shown through the man-made object called globe. Now, Earth is not that colorful that you see the colorful continents marked here on the picture. You can see them. Now, it is not this color that you see, but basically the color demarcation is done so that the students find it easy to understand and demarcate each continent and the water bodies. Now, the second part of the heading, it talks about latitudes and longitudes. Now, what are these? Now, Earth is spherical in shape. Now, if I tell you I live somewhere here, now here you cannot understand where ma'am lives. In India, in Africa, where? Because she's saying she lives here. But what if I tell you the exact location? Now, on a spherical object, how can you do that? So, for that, the geographers, they drew imaginary lines. They drew imaginary lines all over the earth. Now, this picture that you see here shows you the latitude. Now, how to remember? Latitudes are the latitude lines. They call latitude lines. And longitudes, on the other hand, are the long lines which are drawn. These are longitudes. They run from North Pole to South Pole. Whereas the latitudes, they are the they are the lines which demarcate the Earth into two equal halves with equator drawn at the center. Can you see the equator here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then they talk of the importance of latitudes and longitudes. They talk of the other names given to it, like the latitudes. They are also known as parallels, since the lines are running parallel. You can see here the lines are running parallel to each
Yes,
other.
I'm
Then,
good.
then longitudes are also called meridians. Then they talk of the time calculation. How is the time calculated? And the various details pertaining to it. How are there differences in time in other countries to that of ours? Okay, so now this is what we'll study in this chapter. So we'll begin with the introduction. For a very long period, people thought that the earth was flat and had edges. They were afraid of traveling far towards the edges. They feared that they would fall off the edges. But the fact is that the earth is round in shape. No matter how far you go, You will never fall off from the earth as it has no edges. You must have seen a globe in your classroom or elsewhere in your school. What is the significance of various lines drawn on it? What are some areas shown in colors different from others? Let us try to find answers to all these questions in this chapter. Now, today there's a lot of disturbance in this. Somebody else is opening the audio or what? Please switch off your audio. Manvi, please maintain silence in your end because it's disturbing me. Okay, so now we talk of that earlier in the early times, the people thought that the earth is a flat surface, and if they reach the edge, they might fall off. But gradually they learned that earth is spherical in shape, and even if you walk to the corner, which appears to be a corner point, you still have lots to walk because earth is very vast and spherical in shape, and you can never fall off from its edges. Now, the next heading is globe. A globe is a true model of the earth, which is the simplest and the most accurate way to represent the earth. Now, globes may be of varying sizes and types. Some may be big ones, which cannot be carried easily, while others may be small pocket globes. And the globe, like balloons, which can be inflated and are handy and can be carried with ease. On a globe, countries, continents, oceans are marked in more correct size. But a globe has its limitations. We cannot show major landforms, natural vegetations, etc. on a globe. It would be difficult to make and carry or store a large-sized globe. However, a globe is the best representation of the whole earth on a small scale. So they are telling you globe is a perfect representation of a big huge earth showing what it is, how it looks on a globe manually. That means man-made. Globe is man-made. Then they are telling you globe could be of different sizes, depicting different features, but there are certain limitations. Now, globes are not that handy that you carry them to school every time. So they have their limitations. Then every time, supposing just now we are studying about the complete Earth. So globe is okay. We can go into the details and see the pictures of various continents and other countries. But what if we are just studying about a specific country? Supposing we are just studying about Africa. Here, can you see the picture? If we are just studying about Africa, then all the features cannot be represented here. Because every time a globe is made, you cannot just draw Africa on. You have to draw all the other features. Otherwise, it will be of no use or no significance. So it is limited in its use. Why? Because you cannot go into the details. You cannot see the rivers here. Only the political map is shown here. Or if you show the physical features, you cannot show the exact locations of various places. So it has its limitations, but still, for a learner, for a new person, globe is a very good means to study as it helps in maintaining the records and giving a detailed and perfect information to the students to visualize the big, huge earth in a small form. I hope this much is clear. Now we come on to
Yes,
the
ma'am.
next heading. Thank you. Now we come on to the next heading, the earth grid. Now, what is a grid? Before we go on to understanding this, we need to know grid kya hoti hai. So basically, grid is a crisscross line representing the various latitudes and longitudes. So these crisscross lines marked on a globe, they help in locating the places. Okay. Now these crisscross lines are basically called the latitudes and longitudes, and the other name is the parallels and the meridians. So let us read. the grid of the earth. There's such a lot of rustling in the video. Please maintain silence. Now, a grid is a series of crossing lines used for locating places on a map or a globe. It is difficult to describe the location of a point on a sphere like the Earth because there are no corners or sides or beginnings or ends. So we need certain points of reference and lines to find out the location of place. The needle which is fixed through the globe in a tilted manner is called the axis. Can you see this? The earth here. So they have not shown you the axis. This is the axis. Can you see this point here? This center point here? That is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
axis.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is also known as the North Pole. Then just down here, can you see the needle here? That is the South Pole. Okay, so that is the axis on which the Earth rotates, and it is, if you see, it is slightly tilted. Okay, the
Okay,
needle
ma'am.
which is fixed through the globe is a tilted in a tilted manner is called its axis. An axis is an imaginary line, and the Earth rotates around the axis from west to east. Please underline from west to east. In the midway between these globe between these poles lies the equator. Now, equator is the line which divides the Earth into two equal parts. Can you see a line here? Can you see a blue
Yes,
line
ma'am.
here dividing, crossing
Yes, ma'am.
Africa from center? Yes, so that is the equator. It divides the Earth into two equal halves. And the first half, that is the above part, is known as the northern hemisphere, and the lower part is known as the southern hemisphere. Now, we draw one series of lines from the North Pole to the South Pole, and these are called lines of meridians or longitudes. The other series of lines are drawn parallel to the equator and are called lines of latitudes. This complete network of meridians and parallels is called the Earth grid, which enables us to determine the location of any point on the Earth. Please note this down. The lines running from pole to pole, those are called longitudinal lines or meridians. From North Pole to South Pole, if the line is running, it is called the it is called the longitude. It is running from North Pole, can you see here, down below to the South Pole. Okay, so these are
Yes,
longitudes,
ma'am.
or they are otherwise called the parallel, sorry, the meridians. Then there are some lines which are running parallel to the equator. Equator is that part on the earth which divides the earth into two equal halves. So when the parallels are running, the other name given for the parallels is the latitude. I hope this much is clear. Let us read the fact.
Yes, ma'am.
Fact.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Fact.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. Just a second. Fact. Now, the first ever globe was made by Martin Behane. Please underline him in 1492 AD. Please mark the date also. The year when Columbus discovered the New World. That globe had a radius of 50 centimeters. Okay, please underline this fact.
Okay, Excuse ma'am. Me, ma'am.
Just a second.
Ma'am. Okay,
Please
ma'am.
stop the recording, Manvi.
1 minute, ma'am.